Big, world-ending, innovative, recreative, amazing stories is what Marvel wants. Something that says that the newest bad guy is bigger and better than the most recent bad guy that they've had to date. Something that tells us that Marvel's power structure will be reformed forever. We see evidence of this in the fact that they killed Robert Downey Jr., recasted Robert Downey Jr., and are now creating the Fantastic Four with a star-studded cast, which is something that the fans have wanted since the inception of the MCU. The fact that Deadpool, a joke character, was casted as Marvel Jesus in the newest Deadpool tells you something about the state of Marvel. The Thunderbolts was an amazing movie, and it really had everything you're looking for in a Marvel cinematic project. But it was plagued by one simple thing that could have made it a million times better. The Thunderbolts, a street-level superhero team that is meant to tackle threats like assassinations, government takeovers, things that, you'd expect and you dream about the CIA doing in real life. That's what they're supposed to do. In every Thunderbolts comic I've read, which, to be fair, is not a ton, they tackle things like that. Or they tackle behind-the-scenes big stories, where, in reality, New York's population doesn't know or care that things are happening, but they were still saved. That's not what the newest Thunderbolts did. Now, before I go any further, there's going to be obvious spoilers for Thunderbolts and other projects that are made by Marvel that are coming up. You've been warned, so make sure to like and subscribe if you liked how all of the Thunderbolts died at the end of the movie, where I talk about small-scale villains. Specifically the fact that small-scale villains do more for a character story arc than any large character villain can possibly do. Small-scale villains do more for a character's story arc than any other villain can possibly do. So going with the Void as a main villain who could destroy the entire universe was a big move for Thunderbolts. How can you focus on me when you're too busy focusing on the population of Earth? It comes across as very selfish, and that's where we introduce Yelena. Yelena is struggling with some serious depression throughout this entire film. She has lost her sister, her dad wasn't there for her through that grieving period, and she's working for probably the biggest villain that we have right now in the MCU. And though I can commend the MCU for finally tackling these deep issues that we've been begging them to tackle for a long time, in a certain sense, it feels like we're tackling too many issues all at once. Because unfortunately, we also have the mishandling/misunderstanding of Bob's DID. DID stands for Dissociative Identity Disorder, which is a condition that someone like Moon Knight struggles with, where he has multiple people habiting the same exact brain, but they all stem from his own deep personality. In Sentry's case, this is not how his character is written. He is very specifically stated as the Sentry, which is a state of him after Super Soldier Serum, the Void, which is something that could have existed in him ever since birth, knowing his destiny the entire time, and Robert himself. Robert's relationship with the Sentry and the Void is similar to Bruce Banner's relationship with the Hulk. The Hulk can be used for good, amazing good, but also can be a rampaging villain. The Sentry can be used for amazing good, but there's also the dark side, the Void. Yelena is Black Widow's sister. She was introduced to us in the movie Black Widow. She's a great character. I don't think anybody can convince me that she's not a great character. I've even seen some comparisons that she's better than Natasha Romanoff's original Black Widow. The Sentry is also a compelling hero, someone who can be used for amazing good, but also inflict terror upon his enemies. But with two extremely compelling characters, it becomes hard to focus on just one. But here's what we know about Yelena. She was indoctrinated into the Red Room, which literally trains little tiny women, girls, into being killer assassins that overthrow governments. Her father is the Red Guardian, who is the second super soldier ever created by the Soviet Union. Her sister was Black Widow, who recently died, and she has some sort of conflict with Hawkeye for being involved in that. There's a lot to talk about here, but Thunderbolts opens up with her and her alone. She is doing contracts for the bad guy, and it's very clear that the person that's her boss is the bad guy. Valentina, who also randomly looks a ton like Tulsi Gabbard. You don't really hear about her a ton in this movie because, unfortunately, other characters take the main focus of the villain, is a bad person. She is the director of the CIA and Oxcorp, which is a big bad evil corporation that experiments on people. There's bad guys, okay? They hurt people. Yelena is doing contracts for them, basically doing cleanup duty. And Yelena's not the only one that's doing cleanup duty, because they also have the female Taskmaster. They have Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp, the first one, not the bad second one. And they have Captain America, number 2, Johnny Walker. And so they are all sent to the same mission. Yelena's last mission, as she says, dealing with this contract that she has with the bad guy to get her off her back and a clean slate going forward, to go help people. This is a conclusion that she comes to after talking to her father, the Red Guardian, when he says the best he's ever felt in his life is when he was helping the people of his home country, Mother Russia. So she goes to this place, this big bad facility down under the earth, and plot twist, the bad guy's gonna be bad. All of these people have been sent there with the incentive to kill another person that is also under contract. And in the end, they have to escape this big bad facility, except there's another character now, which entirely rewrites the entire story of how this could have gone. It could have been the Thunderbolts taking out a street level / government level threat of Valentina. But Marvel knows that ain't nobody gonna go see the Thunderbolts if they just think that it's the Avengers B team. If you don't know what piggybacking is the idea that you take a character that is already established and people care about, and you add another character that's brand new, and use that already established character to create this new character as the new threat. It's honestly a pretty good technique if used sparingly. But in this case, as soon as Bob, or as we will later know him, the Sentry, is introduced, everything goes off the rails. As soon as Bob is introduced, the intrigue is no longer on Yelena. Not John Walker, with the fact that he was recently divorced and ruined his life, which somehow creates a positive story arc for him, making him much more likable in this movie. Not the fact that Ghost has a really bad illness that is going to cause her to spontaneously combust, but that Bob is a superhuman freak that can do whatever he wants. Which is where we're introduced to Bob, or the Sentry. Bob is a character who was domestically abused as a child and basically had the worst luck you can possibly have. That causes him to travel the world in search of his true self, which lands him in Malaysia, where Oxcorp, or Valentina's corporation, is experimenting on humans to create the Superman of Marvel. Everyone from these trials die except Bob. And the plot reasoning for this could vary from a lot of different things. My personal headcanon being that the Void was already present in Bob's DNA, and that's what kept him alive. Seeing as later on in the movie, when Bob does turn into the Void, he says that he has experienced this before, and when he experienced it beforehand, he is tortured even more by the Void. But the issue is, Bob creates a problem for the side characters of this movie. Why would I care about Yelena when I have Marvel Omni-Man? Why would I care about John Walker when he's not even the real Captain America? Why would I care about Ghost when her powers seem to be absolutely ineffective in any way if they play a specific frequency that everybody has access to? Bob is the mystical figure. Bob is the person we care about. Sometimes, even though we're more interested in another character, we are forced to care about Bob. We are led to believe that Yelena is the protagonist. We start with her character, we end with her character. But in the middle of the story, Bob entirely hijacks that. He is both the protagonist and antagonist from about the 20-minute mark all the way until the last 10 minutes. And the times when he isn't the protagonist and antagonist, he's just normal Bob. It's Marvel's need to have this giant, superhuman, bigger than, badder than the last superhuman that creates this issue. And this is entirely reflected in the original trailers of the Thunderbolts. We see critics writing things like, Thunderbolts is the best movie since Endgame, knowing damn well that these two movies exist and are better. I do, however, have to give props to the Thunderbolts for being a great interpersonal movie. Instead of the Thunderbolts teaming up together and power scaling to the level of Sentry, they were realistic. The Sentry is all powerful, so they had to appeal to his emotions. Yelena makes a connection with Sentry from the very start, which establishes the connection in the end that causes him to become Bob again, the normal human. They did a good job at making people who don't want to watch this movie have to watch this movie. For the future of Marvel, you will need to know what Sentry is. He's going to play a big part in the future. An all-powerful hero is going to always play an important part in the future. But if you don't care about the Thunderbolts, you shouldn't have to watch the Thunderbolts. For the most part, this is nitpicking, but I really didn't like the choice to put an asterisk next to the name Thunderbolts. They used that to introduce them as the new Avengers at the end of the movie. But personally, I just don't like that decision. And it, again, reinforces the fact that they needed you to watch the Thunderbolts. And you need to watch the Thunderbolts for the future of the Marvel Universe. And I believe in the future of Marvel, they're going to continue to create these world-ending characters that will force you to go watch the movie that you don't want to watch, where you used to be able to skip an old Marvel if you didn't like that character, so that you can understand the overarching plot and watch the next movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Gone are the days where you don't have to watch 5 miniseries that encompass 11 hours of your time, which have an entire range of quality, which I could spend an entire video on, to watch the new Marvel movie. You're going to have to understand every little nuance. It's even further backed by the fact that during this movie, you have to have watched Captain America: Brave New World to understand some of the references, which unfortunately I didn't watch. And according to reviews, looks like a lot of people don't either. Over a long period of time, forcing fans to watch characters that they don't want to watch is not going to pay off for Marvel. And step towards a street level, base by base character where I don't have to watch Captain America to then understand the next Avengers. If they would have titled this movie The Sentry, it wouldn't have changed much, except their method of piggybacking. And if fans keep having to watch movies they don't care about to get to the movies they do, it's not going to end well. To finish off this video, today's verse of the day comes from Zechariah 14:9 in the NIV version. The Lord will be king over the whole earth. On that day, there will be one Lord, and his name the only name. If you'd ever like to talk about Jesus or really anything Marvel or nerdy related, join my Discord down in the description. Like, subscribe, love Jesus, bye-bye.